everyone, and welcome back to Episode Club. Today we're going to be backtracking a little bit, and we're going to be talking Season 6, Episode 3, No One. And joining me today, as always, is Johnny B. Crazy, aka Johnny B. Baelish. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. Thanks for having me, Sasa. This is a mixed bag episode. There's some really good parts and some really shitty parts. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's just get right into it, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, Johnny be a little monotone today. I apologize.
No, you've been working a lot these last couple of days, so you're allowed to be monotone, even though I shouldn't tell you you're allowed to be. But anyway, so we'll start off with one of the quicker scenes in this episode with pretty much the Hound finding some men who were the ones that ended up killing the people that had taken in the Hound. And he gives some whackings. And then later on, he meets up with some familiar faces. So, what did you think about that?
Darwinism at its finest. Only the strong survive and non-stupid and weird. I think you said before the guy that got the finger in the bum, Euron would like the yellow teeth man. The guy that got the finger in the bum won a contest, didn't he?
Yeah, he won. It was him, the actor, I think, not the actor, one of the famous voice actors on YouTube, Schaefer Bates, and somebody else was on Jimmy Kimmel Live when Kit Harington was promoting, I think, this season or the season before, season 5. And HBO liked him enough with his accents to put him in for an episode. So
yeah, I mean, this is kind of how crude men can be, especially if they've been torn down by war and all they've done is kill people. It's just a sick sense of humor. Probably could have did without it. I mean, it was pretty funny though. And I love how the Hound comes up, right? And the one thing he says, thief. He's just slicing the one dude's neck. It's perfect. Thieving is the worst, man.
mm-hmm.
And these guys used the guise of religion to basically destroy these other people's religion and take all they held dear. And this is, understandably. And come on, the Hound is back, yo. How can you not be excited about that?
Yeah, the Hound being back is pretty awesome. We've missed him for over about it would have been almost 2 seasons since he had been on the show, and it's just he's not his religious. It's not like he's gone down the fate of the High Sparrow path of everything is going to be fine, like a yogi. That's not the Hound. But the second part of with that Hound's involvement is we see him with Thoros. If I can scroll all the way. And pretty much there's going to be some people doing some hanging. So.
Bunch of Nancy's hanging. It's too quick. Oh man, the dude's face when the Hound was about to hit him with the axe. And come on, man. You just murdered all these innocent people. Just man up a little bit. And, the one dude who told you shit at dying. That's all you got to say. I mean, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's priceless, I would say. And he runs into the man he's already killed. Like this. The Hound's got to be questioning fate many times over at this point, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, so he runs into Thoros and Beric and a few other Brotherhood without banners, and you're just like, yes, some like the odd trio is gonna become this is gonna become. It's just so awesome. And yeah, if you there's the debate on how many people the Hound can hang, if it's 1 or 2 or 3 or all of them, and they're like the Hound's like 4 and Thoros is like 3 and then 2, so they ended up, I think,
You're getting old, gang.
having to kill two. It's just so funny. And then I think he takes Lemon Cloak's boots after he's been hung.
Lemon Cloak.
Yeah.
Man, come on now. They're gonna do that to Lemon Cloak. They shouldn't even told me that was his name. That's messed up, yeah.
Yeah, I think
I like Lem from the books. That's heresy. I wish I would have just kept on being not knowing that actually, because that's fucked up, man. No, man. They might as well just kill Angie. You know, the archer or Angai, however you want to say it. They say Angie because they say it so fast, and then that British, what's that? So it's a specific accent, not just British. But anyways, I hate that. I really do hate that.
I think it's the Hound that kills Lemon Cloak.
He got some good shoes though.
Yeah, he takes the shoes afterwards because he throws off his own. He takes off his own shoes and takes Lemon Cloak's instead.
And who's going under the guys in the books? I know it's like Rourke and Biter. I wonder if Lemon. I can't remember if he went rogue in the books. I don't think so. Let us know in the comments. I'm about there in my reread, so I'll find out soon. But let us know in the comments. It's hard to remember everything, especially after reading Fire and Blood a couple of times and doing in-depth stuff on that. But it really connects back. Yeah, that sucks. Other than that, I get some new shoes and possibly a new perspective on life. The trio is together, right? Like you said.
Yeah, so they have the three of them and a few other ones, the ones that should not be named. After this, have dinner or a meal, and they talk about the cold winds rising in the north, and that they now have to go north to deal with, I guess, whatever lies beyond the wall. So we're getting all of this stuff implemented early.
Yeah, it's nice and poetic. Ends up with fire worshippers going north. He's gonna say, "Oh, no fire up there." Yeah. Who we got next?
So we can talk about Marine, which is basically Tyrion and Varys.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get all that shit out of the way, and then Misa coming back and all that crap.
So,
I mean, the only thing good here is Greyworm's joke. Because he knew how horrible Missandei's joke was. I mean, her joke wasn't bad if you think about it, but it's more of a bookish joke that normal people just aren't gonna get. Yeah. I liked it because I'm a nerd, but it was kind of hilarious. I make joke, with those dead eyes of his. I do love Greyworm. I feel like they did kind of force Greyworm and Missandei on us, but I think it's beautiful what they're doing with them. Honestly, they don't shove it in your face too much, and they put emphasis on, hey, even if you're scarred, you're still capable of love. People will still love you, and it's no matter what happens to you, there's people out there that will love you. Right, and I think that's the message I get from this. I know it's sappy, whatever, but I like it to an extent. For the most part, 95% of everything with Greyworm and Missandei. I do kind of feel like I wish they would have went like maybe even the Faceless Man route, because Missandei is only like 11 in the books, and her being a child and so mysterious and how smart she is as a child, and you get this correlation with the wife looking the same age as Aria, which is around 11, but she's 30 something years old, and it's because she worked with poisons. And then the Faceless Man getting into the Citadel, their history with dragons, and that's kind of my theory on who Missandei is in the books. But here, it's okay. It's okay. It translates well. Sorry for the rant.
No. Yeah, we can talk. Yeah, it's totally a possibility because of how old Missandei is in the books compared to her on-screen portrayal. I think it's just because they probably needed Daenerys to have a mainstay advisor that was old enough to give advice, because probably like an 11-year-old probably wouldn't be so good at diplomatic, maybe as
But in the
diplomatic
book,
policy.
she is, man. That's
Yeah.
what's so mysterious and intriguing about her.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. Like, I don't know about. She knows the ways of the people and advises Dany in that. As far as super diplomatic, I don't know, but the same type of advice she gives Dany in the show, she gives her in the books. Um, it's just so mysterious. I don't know. It might go over the show watcher's head, and they might have had to go a little more in depth with it if they went that way. You know, and we know, I don't fault them for this change.
No,
This doesn't bother me as bad as some of the other changes. I'll shut the hell up now.
no. And if we go back just slightly, we see Varys leaving Tyrion and pretty much the rest of Dany's advisors to go off and talk to some people who we come to know as Olenna Tyrell, Alaria Sand, and the Sand Snakes, and kind of get their allegiance in a sense. But Tyrion says, Varys, the most famous dwarf in the world, when Varys wants to call him the most famous dwarf in the city. So
Just Tyrion walks more like a peasant now, and Varys walks more like a lord, as opposed to when they were talking earlier in the series. I think it's funny, like he's got his arms down, just kind of walking semi-normal, even though he's dressed to the nines, bro. He's titted up.
mm-hmm.
I think I just made a new term, titted up. That's what's up right there. Hashtag titted up. Don't let me forget that one.
Titted.
Yeah, they talk about this, and then isn't this where we get the most famous dwarf in the world, and we get the Red Priestess here too, right? A little bit.
She was in the last episode.
Not that one, but I think we see another one.
Yeah, you get flashes of the Red Priest,
Okay.
I believe.
So
Yeah.
that's keeping coming into play here, and just so everyone knows, Dany is their god on Earth in a sense, or they're Azor Ahai. Especially in the books, they're a fervent believer of Dany, and they're using her as a figurehead for their religion right now. That's something that's important to note. And how is Dany going to feel about that too? Because I think Melisandre's going to play a little bit up on that, because she's already put the princess that was promised in her head. So, that's going to be interesting to see. It's Mel and Dany. We might have to do a stream on that.
Yeah, Mel and Dany. That could be a very cool thing. Yeah.
Or a podcast.
A podcast. We can do so many things for that. But yeah, I think there's flashes of like the Red Priestess. It's not just like explained in this, but yeah, they just talk about all of that, and also kind of talk about Daenerys and waiting for when she comes back, which is the last scene we kind of get of Daenerys with sorry, and she has arrived back in Marine to a whole bunch of.
Everybody's so lonely without Dany. Oh, look at them. They're all somber and got their lips puffed out and everything. Like, even Tyrion, he's like, oh.
Yeah, they're all sad without Daenerys. But she shows up and she finds out that everything she has done is gone to shit. Pretty much.
What do you mean everything she's done? She didn't set anything in place to make sure the shit would stay stable anyway. I don't even know if she was still here. If she had never left, like if Drogon would have just took her back to the pyramid, right? This would still be happening. So this kind of pisses me off with Danny. You can understand, I guess, slightly understand where she's coming from, but I don't think it would be much different with her there, right? Do you? I think this would still be happening. The dissension, maybe the Drogon would have helped in a sense, but there would still be uh, rebellion rising up. The slavers across, the other slavers would be coming. The wise masters would still be doing this. I don't think that. I know that Tyrion made the deal, right?
Yes, 7 years to end the practice
Either
of
way,
slavery.
I still think that bought them time.
Yeah,
If he
I
didn't
think.
make that deal, they would have attacked then, right?
Yeah, I think they would have. She would have wanted like no years of slavery. Like she would have wanted ended in a year, 6 months, or something like that. Like it would have been way less time if she was involved. But yeah, there would still
But
be
honestly,
some.
though, you have to. Change like that comes from the children. It's
Mhm.
going to be hard to change adults. You have to do it through the kids. And then you have to supplement the adults and slowly bring them along to where uh, it's a slow process. You can't expect to change everyone's cultural, everything they've done their entire life that's ingrained in their society. You can't expect them to change it overnight. Um, and that's her learning process. We'll see how much she's learned. I mean, she picked up at the Field of Fire 2.0, and can she come back from that? I think she can, but we'll see what happens. She does come in all badass right here. She has a really great stank face.
Yeah,
I mean, when she's pissed off, you can tell she is pissed off.
yeah, coming in on the back of Drogon after him landing on top of the Great Pyramid in Marine. Like so much of a power move that is, and no one's really talking. In that time where she shows up. So yeah, it's just the queen has now arrived back in Marine. But speaking of another queen, we can jump to Cersei and the Faith Militant and them trying to deal with her. This is the stuff before her, the trial part again.
This probably is one of Cersei's most favorite, famous quotes, right? And probably people's most favorite Cersei scene. I'd say it's definitely up there for me.
In the top 5 or something.
Violence. Come on, she is so badass. You love to hate her, and you also hate that you love the hell out of her because you cannot help it. She is the perfect antagonist to where you are emotionally invested in your villain. Think about that. You're emotionally invested in your villain. Yes, the Night King is there, right? But that's an omnipresent threat to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it's apparently, I'm in the kitchen here and they're doing dishes in my restaurant. But sorry about that. You could probably cut this out. But it's omnipresent that everyone's got to deal with the Night King. But, she should just if she believes in this army, she just let the army take care of them, is what I think she's going to do. And their dwindling numbers come down here. Yeah, she's going to bait them in. Now, I think while the Battle of Winterfell is happening, I don't know why I'm going off on this tangent, she's going to be conquering places. She's going to at least be trying to take over places. She should be. Strategic locations like a chess game. And she'll be set up to win, I think, at the end. But, she, I think, is still going to try to figure out a way to defeat this Night King. Qyburn, I think, is going to be testing things to figure out how they can defend themselves, right? Because they've seen this. I don't think they think it's a trick.
Yeah. No, they don't. Yeah, Qyburn and probably Cersei knows that she fucked up with letting the High Sparrow have so much control, and that pretty much now she's kind of paying for it, but at the same time she has enough people behind her that she can enforce anything she kind of wants. especially with the mountain in this, where Lancel comes to her and is like, uh, like sit down with the mountain, and the mountain's like, nah, not today. And she's at the very end, she says, tell his high holiness that we await his arrival. So she wants to play the power moves, and yeah, I think as of right now she probably has control of Dorne in some sort of sense, Highgarden and Casterly Rock, and probably the Stormlands as well. So she's got like kind of 4 kingdoms under her belt with this. So she's doing pretty well, as you want to say.
Because I don't think, even if they killed him, I could see a scenario where they kill the Night King in possibly episode 3, right? Cersei has all these powers, all this power, and you can. Cersei has all this power in all of these places, and then it's set up for another big war at the end. Would be very cool, but they wouldn't have it. They wouldn't have any fighters, and there would still be winter. Like if you're wondering about the vision, it'd still be snowing. I don't think killing the Night King kills winter, but I digress. As far as this, Lancel gets put in his place. I think he pissed himself. I'm not sure, but I would have. Oh my gosh, the mountain. Sir Robert Strong. Holy smokes, man. Right here, he just destroys it. Rips his head off. Or his jaw, whatever you want to talk about. It doesn't matter. Dude's dead, bro. Kudos for the other, I'm going to call them little sparrows. The other little sparrows that basically they decided not to mess with it. Cersei, yeah, like you said, you can tell him to come talk to me if he wants to. But Qyburn's face here, I really hate it. I want to punch Qyburn in the face because of this little smirks he makes. It just bothers me, but that's just me. Other than that, it was a really great scene. Just Lancel acting like he's the bee's knees or something.
Yeah, Lancel's just trying here, but Cersei just one-ups him and his little friends once again. So, the next scene that we get with Cersei is Tommen basically saying that trial by combat, nope, no more. So, as I know, with Fire and Blood, trial by combat was still of a thing, and all of that. So, my kind of quick thought on this is, Tommen, you have just sent your mother to either stay in deceptive Baelor for the rest of her life, or to be have her head chopped off, or be all of these other things, just because you didn't want to give her the ability to fight for herself and use the mountain as leverage, because you already know that the mountain has killed one person in defense of the crown. So why not do it for your mommy? Like, mommy dearest, she loves you, even though come the later episodes, it's not so much. But
can I say, because of mommy, his sister and brother are dead. Because of mommy, this chaos has wreaked havoc. Also, because of Marjorie Tyrell, Tommen's a little hot and bothered. Then you have these other people in his ear. Kevin Lannister, big person right here. He has a bunch of influence, and he sees Cersei for what she really is. But also, in the books, you get this. He has an affinity. He loves Cersei. That's his niece, and he remembers her as a child and hates what happened to her. He thinks what happened after she got her walk of punishment has actually humbled her up until he gets the bolt in his chest from Varys. And I think this is to his detriment right here. He underestimates Cersei's willingness to go so far as to kill everything that her son loves. Like, this is how blinded she has gotten with not power, but she thinks her son's being taken from her, the last thing she has left to hold on to. And you kind of can't blame her, but she killed her son herself.
Yeah, and also with this, Tommen says that their official trials will be done on the first day of the Festival of the Mother, which is episode 10, which is that episode. But also Tommen talks about how the crown and the faith are the two pillars that uphold the world. So he is really, really going into this kind of historical figure that you've kind of connected to in in some thoughts that we've had. And
Well, I mean, Aenys was considered an abomination. So, but he would also can be looked at as a like Aenys tried to reconcile here. Jaehaerys really raised them up, but Aenys ended up kind of going against it. I don't know how to describe it, but he was very meek and meager, like Tom, and listened to everyone around him. And he realized what the faith did. He didn't want this rebellion that was bound to happen. And Tommen is of an age as well to where he's more influenced by religion in a sense. The stories they tell, the gods you believe in. Not saying that gods aren't real or anything like that, but you're more prone to believe in the supernatural at that age, if that makes sense. And this was the same thing that many kings have had to deal with, but any child in this situation, having religious scripture thrown at you and known that you're this is the religion of seemingly you think it's your mother, you think it's the religion of Marjorie, because Cersei's the one that enacted this. So in a sense, she's kind of like Jaehaerys is, and where they kind of gave them so much power. And I mean, even you go back to Aegon and like the Senya basically taking over the High Sept in Old Town and implementing their own high holiness and this law of exceptionalism to where Targaryens were different. I know I'm going on a rant. You can cut this out if you need to, but
no.
And they kind of saw Aenys as weak once it got to that point, and Aegon and his sisters were an anomaly to them that they shouldn't. After that they shouldn't, and then that's when you get Jaehaerys later doing the law of exceptionalism. But Aenys tried. He just said, "Screw you! I'm still gonna do the family marriages and all of that." So it was odd. I think I'm misrepresenting some of what I'm saying because I'm getting some of the history conflated because there's so much of it. But in general, this has happened throughout history, and this is a definite repeat of the rising of the faith militant, or what you would have as the poor fellows in another situation there. So with that, what I'm saying is basically is Tommen screwed up, and he's very very malleable and influential, and he's just at that age. I don't know where the hell I'm going with this.
No, it's no, because it's very true, because they wanted to get rid of the faith, like they brought it in, and then now that the faith has so much control over the young king that it's now manipulating new laws and so on and so forth. So, but Tommen, it just makes you think. It's like, you had so much promise, It's like the young Padawan, and then now you just fall to the floor, and you just want to not. Sorry for the stuff in the background. All of and you just failed your mother. But also too, Kevin kind of plays down Cersei's role and puts her in the position of all the other ladies in the court. Like, you're not Queen Mother, you're not an important woman in this. It's just you're just now just another plain old Jane lady who just gets to stand in the courtroom. It's like, Kevin, you have no idea what's coming for you, coming soon, because Cersei also talks about the wildfire in this as well and how much they have left. And Qyburn says, more, much more. Ooh, ominous as hell. But
let's not end with Bravos. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way if you want.
So
oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I got a nice short, tight rant on everything with that. So you go ahead.
So we have basically Lady Crane and Aria kind of giving her using her tips from for the play, and then from the last episode, and then we see her help Aria feel better by giving her some healing. What do you think?
Well, Aria here shouldn't be alive after all the gut stabs, but let's get past that. She has to know she's putting her in danger. She even kind of says it a couple times. But she falls into a state of being comfortable, which she never should be, not after all of her training. With that, we get this accidental death, which they make deaths look natural. This is what the faceless men do. They don't hold grudges. Then, straight up, after that, after the wife kills Lady Crane, she comes in with this vengeance thing. Now, one thing she does say that is very important here: you stole a life. You owe one. Now, you could argue she killed the wife, and that is what she owes. So I don't think Jaqen will necessarily kill her unless she won't come back later. But we get this Terminator chase down scene, which is just, they're not going to do this in public. The wife should not be doing she's this may be why Jaqen accepted Aria killing her, but this still gives no credence to letting her use faces now, and letting her go with all this knowledge. It's really tough. I do like how she led her down this path and led her into a trap. It was really cool. I kind of wish we would have got more after she cut out the candle, and we kind of could have maybe heard the slight bits of a fight or a moan. More people have problems with the candle scene. I kind of like it. I think that's really cool. All of this in between the chase is just not something that you're gonna see with the faceless men. Like Aria will run, but you wouldn't see the wife chasing her. The wife would be like, "All right," and you'd see her go cut an alley, or just out of nowhere, because she knows the city better than Aria does, and knows that there's other times to catch people, that you don't have to waste all your energy chasing someone down. Jaqen told her it might be a day, it might be an hour, it might be a week from now when I kill someone from you. When the time presents itself, it happens. But this whole scene, everything in this scene goes against the grain completely, because this wife isn't even the wife we first met. That's Jaqen H'ghar. Because Jaqen H'ghar is dead. Don't let me confuse you. But Jaqen H'ghar died. Then Jaqen H'ghar turned into the wife. Then there's another wife. So with that, everyone is no one. So there shouldn't be any feelings that the wife has toward revenge toward Aria. It makes no sense. Other than that, it was okay. but I don't like Jaqen letting her go. I don't think it's because he want. I think it may be because of her list, right? But she's still gonna have after that. She has to pay for this. People don't walk around with faceless man knowledge without being a faceless man. If you do, you die pretty quickly. Um, she could flee or go, but other than that, that's all I got with the scene. I felt like they just had to get her out of Bravos, and they didn't know how.
Yeah. To your point, exactly. Like, I feel like they had to get her out of Bravos and they had to condense maybe 3 or 4 episodes of more time in Bravos into 2 episodes. Um, like, it was one of those things of uh, probably because that her storyline is so much longer in the story, in the books, rather than they wanted to have her in the show. But yeah, my kind of thoughts are basically the same as yours. Poor Lady Crane did something nice, and because she helped Aria, she ended up getting killed. Uh, she had a decent story about how pretty much that she used to help people and she used to take care of them. But
To be fair, she would have died anyway because she was on, already marked for death. So I don't think she got killed for helping Aria. Um, I think didn't you say it might have been more painless
maybe,
with the poison?
yeah, because
This is your fault.
especially because Arya probably would have given her the poison of, say, like what Jaime might have done with Olenna. Maybe that specific type of poison, but
I'm
it
pretty
was
sure it's the thing, whatever was in the pool. So yeah, it's a peaceful death, I believe.
um and yeah, there's and then this whole sequence, this Arya versus the Terminator uh scene is just, first of all, this is physiologically impossible for her to be getting up, let alone and walking around, let alone running through the streets of Bravos 2 days, uh, like one day after being stitched up from, and
Yeah, should the wife have even though she shouldn't even have had an opportunity to run, right? Sloppy, by the way. Like I want to chase you down, all creepy like.
yeah, it's like it physiologically makes no sense to have her being able to run around. And then, yes, they obviously show her falling down the stairs, and having some of these cuts open up again, or at least start bleeding again, which is a good thing, but it's like she should have been more out of breath when running and having to stop and like, or running while like holding her stomach, or something like that, to make it more realistic and not just her just like running and like being fearful for her life. Yeah, the candle scene's very cool. It's one of those sequences that it's just like, ooh, you kind of want to see what happens, or at least hear the beginning of um, the scuffle. Like you just sat on it, like just to hear that would have been just um, very interesting and very cool, because it just shows that there was fight back. It wasn't just Aria just was able to like stab and like slice off her face. Like there was some sort of um, more high stakes than that. And then ultimately, when she goes and sees um, Jaqen again, and she points his needle and go, "I'm Arya Stark of Winterfell, and I'm going home." And he smiles. It's like, what? Why? Um, Because it's like she shouldn't have been able to be let go that easily because she got all the faceless man training. It's like
Something else that's really messed up is apparently that's the only two faceless men in the world, and another one's dead. So only Jaqen is left. So for the survival of faceless men for eternity, Jaqen has to survive to make more faces. Come on. Like They have to culminate with something with this before I will accept it. I still will not accept this Terminator scene and the waif having some sort of grudge. Now, she was more of an acolyte in the show. She wasn't a faceless man yet. I'm pretty sure she was an acolyte. The books, they don't do this. The show, they don't do this really, because when they turn Jack and Hagar into the wave, then they fucking blow it out the water at this point. So basically, you only have one faceless man in Jack and Hagar.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, and they didn't set it up well. You could have seen like the council of I think it's 12 faceless men that Aria saw. I don't know if that's all that there are in the world. It may be all you need, but that's the 12 main people. And we could have just seen a hint toward that. Jaqen talking to these other people about what's to come, and Arya seeing a little peek of it. That's all we needed. And then you know that there's other faces that are faceless men, right? You don't just have to throw this random person that has to pull their mask off and show that they're Jaqen to know what the fuck's going on. Sorry for this rant, but I'm done.
No. Yeah, like we need Jack in season 8, whether it's just a reference or the actual actor showing back up to tie up this storyline. Like this is if how Arya's Bravosi storyline ends, it'll just make me just want to pull some hair out, because like this is not how it's supposed to end. Like this isn't the pretty bow storyline. It's like it's wrapped up, sure, but it doesn't have the decorative pieces that it's needed to be great, because the books have such a great storyline with Arya and the Faithless Men, and to have this just kind of get wrapped up in the last second quickly and in like one episode pretty much, after being dragged on for like the beginning of season 5 into season 6. It's like it was so stretched out for them to just snap back together. It's a real piss off to the storyline and these characters specifically in this location. But hey, they needed her back in Westeros for all of these other reasons, but we'll talk about those sooner or later. But we will go now to the last location in this episode, which happens to be River Run with Jaime and Brienne.
Yeah, let me set it up for you so you can talk some. No, I'm not the blowhard. So Brienne and Podrick get there, and you see Brienne kind of get fixated. Does she see Jaime?
She sees Jaime on horseback,
yeah. Yeah, and I think she's starting to think this may be someone she's in love with. We haven't seen her really be like this with anyone except for Renly. We have Pod, getting snuck up on by Bronn because he's got to make an appearance and slap a squire in the face. Everybody wants to hit a squire. Now, you also get a little bit of this tent action. Are they fucking in there? I don't know. Probably not. But this is a really good conversation. It goes through. Brienne tries to give the sword back right, and then honor compels me to fight you if I must. And that whole line. What did you think about all that fun stuff, Sasa?
Yeah. We get Brienne and Podrick kind of arriving in this camp. And the conversation between Bronn and Podrick, it's like, you're still a squire. You're not even a knight anymore. Like you're not even a knight. Like, come on, Pod. Grow up a little bit. And it's that comedic moment, because we've had some not necessarily tense moments this episode, but we've got some moments where you're just like, oh, so we needed something light. And usually Podrick and Bronn are usually the two culprits. And with Brienne and Jaime's conversation, Brienne talks about how she has now found Sansa and that she is safe. And that pretty much the situation with Sansa still have the bounty on her head by Cersei to bring her back to King's Landing is still mentioned, which I don't know if this will still happen or something they may try to trick Cersei in season 8 with having somebody else be like kind of like the Tyrion situation almost for season 5 or in season 4 when they're bringing the dwarf heads that are supposed to be Tyrion's. They could try and play something like that to bring that story back into the fold. I'm not too
Bring
sure.
her Jaime's hand, maybe
Maybe.
at some point, maybe something interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a
And
good point. What?
they also talk about how the plans to get Sansa and Jon to take Winterfell from the Boltons as well, and that Santa needs the Tully army, and that.
I don't. Okay, so right here, I have a couple of issues. Can I just throw them at you? Because we're going straight next to the Blackfish scene. He's sending her to treat with the Blackfish, but here Jamie's like basically says he's known a bunch of girls like her, and Brienne says you don't know any girls like her. But we go to the Blackfish. She's just like her mother, so this contradicts it to me. But she's not just like her mother, in my opinion. She does have that fire. I think that's what the Blackfish is being reminded of. But I would say she's smarter than her mother up until this point. We've yet to see what she's gonna do in season 8 or whatever. But I don't think she's gonna let us down. But I think Sansa definitely is smarter than her mother, but has that same fire. Just uses it better, possibly.
Yeah, she's learned from the best, and she's now got to use it now more than ever. Especially if she's going to use it against Daenerys and like what she knows, and if Sansa's going to be that special person, another for Daenerys. And I don't know how that would work. But yeah, so the scene after this is where Brienne's talking or continues to talk to the Blackfish after saying that Jamie saying Brienne has to keep the swords because it's ice, just reforged, and yeah, like the fact that Brienne has ice technically is and to protect the Stark girls and for all intents and purposes Jon in some sort of weird symbiotic way as well. Hey, why not? Um, the Blackfish. It's so nice to see him again, but to have him die in this sequence pisses me off, especially since it's an off-screen death. How did you? I know you have some interesting thoughts about this too.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess the off-screen, whatever. I don't know, whatever with that. Other than that, I did like the exchange between the two, and they both respect one another in the end, and it seems like the Blackfish may have a slight different view of Jamie after Brienne told him what happened, but Jamie isn't beholden to River Run, so to speak, and Jamie does turn back to his old ways in this episode, a little later, and I do like how they went back and forth, but I don't have enough to help her. You have more than she does, and you know the fact that I'm not gonna let him take my home. He's got to bloody well take it the way everyone else does, and that's just he doesn't compromise. I don't know, agree or disagree with him. You got to respect the man for not compromising his morals
Yeah.
and his beliefs for anything. And maybe if Sansa's life was in danger still, but this is about getting back Winterfell, right?
Yeah, it's getting back his niece's husband's house. It's like what? So the Blackfish has no real actual, essentially ties to it anymore. Um, like his niece's daughter's house. So it's like it's I think it's also too because they wanted to have John's odds be so stacked against him, uh, against Ramsay, that they couldn't have the Tully army and the Vale army and the Wildlings and the 62 Mormont and some of the other men that they were able to recruit. Like I think the dismissal of the Blackfish's army to uh, the cause of John and Sansa is just to make more tension on the ones that are there, the amount of people that they do have, and it's to show that if, so for sake of argument, if John got the Tully army behind him and the Vale army, he would have been maybe at par with Ramsay. Then it wouldn't have been as such of a desperation sort of side from John. It would just be like, oh, okay, so now he has all of these people who don't have really any blood relation to him following him, even more so with the Tullys. Like, it it'd just be difficult, and it, like we talked when we were talking about Battle of the Bastards. It's made for TV drama. The small against the large army. Um, but also, in this, Jaime, yeah, like you said, goes back to his weird roots with Edmure, basically saying that he would fling Edmure's young son into River Run if anything is to go wrong. Which, Jaime, really, you want to slide your character back 5 seasons in one single line? You're not doing so hot with that. But then also after we have the battle, which isn't even a battle. But what do you think about Edmure finally getting to show back up?
Bittersweet. I love how the Blackfish was. Why do you think they've sent us your lord after so much time? It's not because they like him or they're just being nice. It's a trap, you idiot. And we have to listen to our lord. I mean, this. Mm, it's. I don't like it. I don't like how they kind of went with that, because you think there would be more people defiant and with the Blackfish on this, right? You would think all of them wouldn't be like, oh, we must let Ed. But this is classic Jaime, right? I'm gonna put your kid in a catapult while a robot. Mm-hmm. Classic Jaime. Let me put the baby in the catapult because I don't care. I push kids out windows.
Yeah. And we also find out that Rosalind and Edmure have never been in the same room besides their wedding night. Whether this was Walder Frey's doing or just the fact that now they have, well, the Frey has Edmure Tully in his dungeons. It's just like, it just proves that he's such a bad father and grandfather even more. So,
Well, it's an extra form of torture as well. Also, to know you have a child and not, have it used against you. You haven't even seen the child yet, but you're still gonna have love for that child, knowing you have one. It's maybe probably the only thing he's even been able to hold on to keep him going through his imprisonment.
a son too. So there is some Tully child out there that we just don't know about exactly yet.
But the Blackfish goes off screen and dies, like you said. The real key to this, I don't know, sorry for that weird sound I just made. The real key to this, to me, is Brienne and Jaime there, and Jaime not saying anything and letting her go. Anyone else, I don't care, give a shit who it is, but Brienne and Cersei. That's the only person he need to ever do that for, right? I don't see, I don't see him doing it for anyone else. So Team Bramey is still strong. I think there might be, hey, we might have a crypt sex scene with Brienne and Jaime. You know, I do think they could get together. You know, there's going to be a lot of tension and build up because this is the last time. This isn't the last time. This is the last time they see each other for a while, and then they see each other again at
The
the
Dragon Pit.
Dragon Pit, and that's kind of it. You know, and when Brienne, you know, yeah, man, you know, you could almost say, yeah, Jamie's using his honor to go save the realm, but I know Brienne's on the back of his mind. He wants to be with her in a sense. I don't know if he's necessarily admitted it to himself yet. And that's the funny thing about the books. He's sitting there trying to tell himself basically he doesn't like her, and then he kind of goes back and forth with these funny thoughts that are just borderline him saying he likes her but doesn't. You know, it's funny.
Yeah, I can totally see like Brienne and Jaime romance to kind of give Brienne, like, she's been such a hardened character by love, and she's such a strong warrior character that she could find some sort of love because
I have
that's
to show you something. So my Google just did something for me, and look what it picked up. Can you see that?
what did they? Game of Thrones something. It's backwards.
Brienne, Jamie sex scenes.
Ha!
Sex scene with Brienne and Jamie. That's what it says. I was like, what? I hate it. This phone listens to you all the time. Everyone, your phone listens to you. No doubt. Like a commercial about something we've talked about on this will pop up on my YouTube. It's insane. Or an ad on a website, like it every time.
Yeah, like but yeah, Brienne and Raimi could most definitely be a thing in season 8, and it's a point of contention that before the purple wedding, Brienne talks to Cersei, and she's like, "You love him, don't you?" And she says nothing about it. But yeah, Brienne and Jaime and Podrick. At least Podrick knows how to row a boat because that's how they kind of get away, is through the boat. But yeah,
It was a pretty. I don't know. It wasn't that good of an episode, right? I would give
yeah.
it like honestly a 6.5. Brainy crypt sex scenes. You know, that's what I would give it because it has some good moments, and this might be one of my lowest ratings for an episode, but the injustice that was done to the House of Black and White cannot be undone and cannot be forgiven. So I'm going to stick with 6.5, a brainy crypt sex scene.
And I'll give this episode again, probably, or a 6.5 as you did. House of Black and White's wahs, like, because it's like it's such a fail. But before we continue to ramble off into the sunset, where can the people find you and what you got going on for season 8 especially?
You can find me at Johnny Be Crazy, at Johnny Be Crazy everywhere. Just go check it out on Episode Club. Of course, I'll be on Secrets of the Citadel immediately after the premiere episode of Game of Thrones Season 8 on Mondays, every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Check us out. Nooners of Thrones, we'll be talking about the newest episode of Game of Thrones every single damn Monday. So check it out. I'll also go through the books. We have Quickies of Ice and Fire. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I also have Nooners of Locations and Lore. I'm recording one this week, very special location, Winterfell. So you're going to want to definitely check that out. Recording with AU Pack Mule. So some really deep theories there. We like to get into all of the locations and have a nice little tinfoil theory wrapped up for you at the end. So it's really fun. What else?
They deserved it.
They deserved it. Part 1, go check that out on my channel. Go check out Alicia Kingston's channel. This series is going to be back and forth from her channel, and it's going to be an ongoing series. We want your input. Game of Thrones tragedies. They deserved it. Part 1 we already did. We're going to do many parts. There are lots of people who we think deserved everything that happened to them, and we argue about it, and you get to throw it in the chat, and also we try to defend them and justify some of the things. So it's not completely one-sided, but it's a lot of fun. Don't take it too seriously, especially at the beginning, but at the end we will come back to reality after we get our rants and funny stuff out of the way. Other than that, thank you so much for having me on, Mackenzie. And yeah, just can't wait for the Game of Thrones to get started. Hope you can't wait too.
Yeah.
All that good stuff. Blah blah. Hit all Mackenzie's buttons.
Yes. Yeah.
Just be respectful of the buttons, and hit the
respect,
button, leave
but
a comment.
And also check out Johnny's sort of somewhat interview with John, the promo hermit, where he talks about where John gets to kind of spill what he thinks will happen in the show because he has not seen anything or read anything. So yeah, make sure to check that out. It's a really good one. Some laughs are put into that one, and yeah, you can find me here, where pretty much we're gonna catch up the rest of the last episodes before we start the new ones. And Wednesday night will be the same time as always. We'll have some new people joining us for episode club, which will be so good. On Wednesday, we will be talking 7-6 Beyond the Wall, and the day of the premiere, we should be talking 7-7, The Dragon and the Wolf, around lunchtime to get your lunchtime fix right before a new episode starts. And also Cylon Johns and Johnny's channel. But with that, we will see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone.